I'm Tom Holden. I'm a professor of philosophy.
I'm Dylan Goldman, fourth year philosophy major.
I'm a third year. I'm a philosophy major, and my name is Katie.
So one thing about philosophy is it appeals to curious people. It appeals to the person who likes staying up late, arguing with their roommates about the wisdom of the world. But moreover, as well as being like fun and intellectually exciting, it is a fantastic start for professional life. Philosophers do better than any other majors when we're talking about law school. They do very well, surprisingly enough, for medical school applications on the GMAT, the business school exam. It's because we're training you both in logic and analysis, critical thinking, but also clear, precise prose, showing you how to lawyer a philosophical problem. Right. Is pretty good training for any sort of argument analysis in the future.
I think philosophy allows you to think about things in sort of a unique way. I know that's kind of like a cliche answer to why philosophy, but for example, I'm taking a philosophy of science class right now, and we're talking about sort of how science ought to be done. You know, other majors seem to have like a specific emphasis on one thing, whereas in philosophy, I think we get to touch on all sorts of different kinds of majors and think about things in a really different kind of way.
You know, like oftentimes the stereotype of philosophy is kind of like thinking about the deep questions like, do I exist? And while we do that, something that we really want to do is be extremely precise in what we're saying, really efficient, and not have any fluff. So I think the ability to be critical, to think what is the best argument I could have, why it's the best argument, and justify every single thing you're saying to a point where you genuinely feel comfortable with yourself is a really good skill to develop as a philosophy major.
I think the biggest external challenge is probably that most people have negative connotations about the usefulness of a philosophy degree. I think it's a very useful degree, and I think that you can look at that by looking at the statistics of people getting jobs and getting into grad school afterwards. I think that that's sort of an external pressure that maybe people's parents or friends might say. But I think that an internal pressure is that it can cause you to be a little bit uncomfortable sort of thinking about your worldview. It challenges your worldview in ways that I think that other majors and other fields may not. So it's like you sort of have to figure out how to come to terms with your own beliefs when you're thinking about them in your classes.
So we've had a string of recent hires. My colleague Dan Corman, who teaches metaphysics and epistemology, is very popular with graduate students, but also teaches twice a year Philosophy 1, Intro to Philosophy, which is expanded and we keep adding more and more TAs and sections because he's such a popular teacher of that intro course. It's a good way into it all. We have a new philosopher of science and logic called Thomas Barrett. And Patricio Fernandez just started this year. He teaches both ethics but also philosophy of economics, and that's a whole new arrow in our quiver. We didn't used to have someone doing anything like that.
I don't think there's really like an intrinsic philosophy trait. I think we all have the ability to think and to be critical and to kind of analyze what we're doing, but people just hone in the skill more. And I think the more you do philosophy, the more that's going to come.